Hello everybody, welcome into the hobby bar. This is Jason, welcome. Today we'll be continuing work on this guy, the Bloodwrack Viper we've been working on for a while. I wanted to bring that bottom part up to where this top part is at least this week and maybe work on some other stuff. So let's get that ready to go. And starting off with good old Karak Stone. If you do any other hobbying, feel free to jump in. If not, that's cool too. Hope you get whatever you're working on done and enjoy. But with that, we'll go ahead and get started on this bottom part. So here we are bringing in that Karak Stone like last time from Citadel, layer paint. And yeah, time to start this process on all these lower half scales. Thankfully some of them are smaller, so it's a little easier to go quickly over them and basically overbrush instead of having to go one at a time and try to spend more time on them and really pick out everything. Can kind of speed through this a little bit more. But it's still gonna take some time, and yeah. It kind of is one of the problems with bigger models is you end up using the same colors for very extended periods of time and can kind of be draining on you. It kind of was for me. I am glad though that made the progress we did on this one, on this episode, so hopefully we can start gluing it up here soon. Because it being in basically 5 parts is still annoying the heck out of me. So hopefully soon we'll be able to knock that out. But yeah, we'll be doing the same thing we did last time on the upper half, but this time on this lower half. Just taking Karak Stone, going around building up that mid-tone here on all these scales. This way it doesn't look so strikingly different, and we can start bringing the snake together here soon. With that though, I don't think really much else to talk about on this part yet, since this is just more the same from last time, so yeah, we'll go ahead and let the footage run, and I'll catch up with y'all here in a little bit for the next color. Alrighty, here we are bringing in some Ionrach Skin, again by Citadel. This one's a base paint this time. This is sort of a, I guess you can say, greenish tan. There's like a hint of green in it, I feel. But I wanted to use this as the base coat for the teeth on the snake. This way, they're kind of closer to that bright, whitish color. And, yeah, I think I thinned it out a little bit too much when I put it on the wet palette. So, yeah, it kind of needs a few thin coats to build back up the color here. This way it's not just sort of watery on there. But, yeah, just using the Ionrach here on the teeth is all. Just have to pick them out. We'll take another coat later. But, yeah. We'll go ahead and get this first base coat on here for now, and I'll catch up with y'all here shortly for the next color. Alrighty, here we are moving on to Khorne Red. Again, Citadel base coat color. I wanted to touch up some of the blood spots that are dripping down from the snake, just because some of them were looking a little pinkish instead of reddish, so I wanted to get another base coat on them. Also, I could see some gray in some of them still, so I really did want to just touch them up, get some of them built back up in the actual reddish tone for the blood and stuff. Also, catch some of the other areas that aren't quite looking right for the blood, so get some elsewhere and get it going for a good strong base coat here on the blood. Yeah, nothing real too fancy to talk about here. When gluing this up, it'll be kind of interesting to try to line everything up, so that'll be fun when we finally get to do that. But, yeah, I just wanted to hit some of the points that weren't quite looking right. Also, I noticed there was a bit of the tan that ended up there on the side of the snake's mouth. So that was a bit weird. Need to get that layered over. Hit some of the gums here on the snake as well. But anyway, yep, we'll just go around touching up some of the areas that need to be touched up with the red, and then still ignoring the two halves of the base down there. We'll get to that eventually. But yeah, mostly just covering up some of the lighter areas of the Khorne Red and, yeah, build them back up a bit. But with that, go ahead and catch up with y'all here in a bit for the next color. Alrighty, here we are moving on to Cephalopod Studios Yellowstone. I kind of want to use this as a mid to highlight color, because it's subtly different from where we ended up with the Karak Stone over the gray. So I wanted to use this as sort of a mid to highlight color here on the snake. So that's what we're going to do with the Yellowstone, is try to concentrate more on the raised areas and where the light would be catching and sort of pick those out a bit better. This way there's a bit more of a difference between the mid-tone and the highlight. But I'm not sure if this will be the highest highlight color here on the mini, but I know we do a bit of dry brushing next, so that'll be like highest highlight. And this is just to sort of pick out some areas so that it's kind of mid to highlight-ish, so that the highlight can kind of look a little bit better, I guess. But yeah, just sort of want to go around using some of this stuff again. Just a change of pace from all the Citadel stuff we've been using for a while. Just because the Cephalopod Studio stuff is pretty good. Again, it's real good at layering, so that's why I wanted to bring it back in. Just to do this part for the highlight, or mid to highlight bit on the snake. But yeah, will be a color we'll have to bring back though for the lower half, I believe. But with that, we'll go ahead and let this play out, and I'll catch up with you all here in a little bit for the next color. Alrighty, here we are moving on to Citadel Terminatus Stone. It's a dry paint that they do. Basically the dry paints just don't have a lot of, medium in them, so that they're very dry and ready to go for dry brushing. This way, I don't know, to me it still feels a little weird to grab a wet paint and then dry out a lot of it, and just wipe off most of it on the paper towel there to dry it up and work in the bristles for the dry brushing. But with this, I want to go around and pick out all of these scales basically, and just really get that edge highlight going on them. Pick out the raised ridge on them and pick out the, just the general shape of the scale. That edge of the scale needs to be highlighted, and going around and picking out all of these with a normal wet brush would take forever. So we're just dry brushing here. Speed up the process. But yeah. Very simple, straightforward. Also do it to the upper half of the snake too. This way we can pick out all those scales, and it really does help define everything up. I could put a wash over everything. I'm not sure what color though. That wouldn't kind of ruin everything. So that's why it's like, sometimes you can dry brush and then put a wash over it to bring everything back together if it's a bit too strong, but I feel like it worked out perfectly fine with Terminatus Stone, just because it's basically the highlight color I would use anyway. It's just slightly off-white, and yeah, kind of using a lot of the same color area for this piece. Not much experimenting around, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and dry brush this thing up. I didn't want to use a makeup brush for this, just because I didn't want it to get super everywhere. So that's why we're just using this small dry brush from Citadel for this, instead of like a big old makeup brush or even like eyeliner makeup brush or whatever. Even though those are also really good at dry brushing, go figure. Just gotta stick with the Citadel one. This way I have longer bristles to work with too, since I didn't want to use one of the shorter bristled brushes, since then I might start scraping up stuff as I was dry brushing around, making the motions. So that's why I want to stick with this one for this bit of dry brushing. Anyway, go ahead and finish up this process here on the lower half, move on to the upper half, get all that dry brushing done, and then I'll catch up with y'all here in a little bit when we go back for some touch-up, because dry brushing's a little messy, as you can kind of imagine from just moving around a brush back and forth all over the place. So, see y'all here in a little bit for that. here we are coming back with Karak Stone. I noticed after the dry brush, there were some areas on the cheek, on that right side of the snake, that kind of had the Karak Stone and stuff, kind of splotch off. Hard to describe. It was kind of spotty over there. I guess it wasn't fully dried or something weird happened, so came back in with Karak Stone just to touch that up a bit. And after that dried up, we came in with Ionrach Skin again. Almost said Ionrach Stone. All this stone. But, yeah. Coming back in with Ionrach Skin. This way we can get that second coat here on the teeth. Really build up that base coat color on them. And yeah, that'll be nice and good to go for whatever we decide to do next on the teeth. I'm not sure which way I want to go with them. Kind of want them to just be bright white, since it's a magical snake thing that's summoned, so maybe you can have some relatively pearly whites. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it'll probably get highlighted and everything another time. Don't think we messed up anything else. It's mostly just touch up and making sure that the color is nice and built up on both sides of the rows of teeth. Come back in with Khorne Red because I noticed the eyes had a bit of the dry brush on them, the Terminatus Stone. So I wanted to come back in with Khorne Red real quick and hit the eyeballs with them. Anyway, last call everybody, last call. So today, not really anything super special on it, just getting this bottom half kind of tidied up and ready to connect with the top half, really. And then we'll have to get the two halves of the base done, this way those can match up. But this is the lower half here, and then we jump over to the top half here with the dry brush now on all the scales. Can kind of tell how that helps define the shape of the scale a bit, and it shows that raised ridge. So that'll be nice. I didn't really dry brush the underside of it for those lower half kind of plate things, but I don't really think those needed a dry brushing because those are kind of in the shaded areas anyway, so they didn't really need defining like the upper half scales did. That's why we didn't really go there with dry brushing. But anyway, go ahead and sign out from here. So, hope you all got whatever you were working on done, and have a good one out there, everybody. Take care out there. I'll see you around.